Okay, we are down to the wire. Last two puzzles for you to be able to code to get this game working the way that it's supposed to. So now it's time to write the code for some more sprite interactions. The player should displace the enemy sprite. So up to this point, the player has just been able to move, but it's not interacting with the enemy sprites at all. For this level, or this puzzle, you'll be writing code inside the displace enemy function. Write code that makes the player displace both enemy sprites. Test your program to make sure your player is displacing enemy sprites, but they keep moving right after the player moves away. So if we run this, then so far what we've done is we can move our player up and down and all around, but you can see that the ladybugs are unaffected by the player. So inside of this function here that is currently empty, we have displace enemies. So now what we need to do is we need to say player dot displace, and then we're going to say enemy 1. And let's just see what that does. So if I run this, and I can move my enemy up once it gets... Now, here's the problem. Once I move it into the water, I'm not going to be able to do anything because I don't have any code written for what happens if it hits the water. It's only being reset if it hits the cake. So let's go ahead and just do player.displace and then enemy 2. And I should be able to move both of them now. And this is exactly what you want. You want them to be able to continue moving right even after you've moved them, which is exactly what's happening here. So this is the code that we want to have in our displace thing. So you can see I kind of missed that guy. So I can move him back, and then I can move him up and down, and I'm good to go. So all you need is those 2 lines of code in the displace enemies function for this puzzle, and then we finish and we continue on. So now we need to figure out what happens if they touch the water. Last part of the game is you need to write the code that resets the sprites when they touch the water. Luckily, you have already written functions that reset each sprite, so you'll need a good way to know when each sprite leaves the bridge. Start by writing code for a single enemy, and then copy and paste and make small changes to create code for your second enemy. So for this level, you'll be writing code inside of the enemies touch water function. You use an if statement to check whether enemy 1 is off the top of the bridge by checking whether its Y value is below 140. Within your if statement, you then use your set enemy function to reset the sprite and add 1 to the score. Use an additional if statement to check whether enemy 1 is off the bottom of the bridge by checking whether its Y value is above 260. Within your if statement, you use set enemy 1 function to reset the sprite and then add 1 to the score. And then you've got to do the whole thing for enemy 2. So in here, we're going to do enemies touch water. We write our if statement. If enemy 1.y is below or less than 140, then we're going to set enemy 1, and we say score equals score plus 1. Okay? And we also need another if statement if enemy 1.y is greater than 260. Then we set enemy 1, and we say score equals score plus 1. Okay, so now only enemy 1 is going to be affected if I push him into the water. So there he goes in the water, and I get 1, and I get 0 because I had 2. Oh, that's enemy 2. There's enemy 1. There's 1. Let's push him back up just to double check. 2. Okay, So now all we gotta do is copy the code to be able to do it for enemy 2 as well. So copy and paste is definitely our friend as we're doing all of these things during this lesson. So just highlight here, Control C, and then we're going to Control V, and we need to change all of these 1s to 2s here and here, here, and reset and run. And now our code and our program should be running the same exact as it was at the beginning. So each of these should be able to be pushed off into the water. And I'm defending my cake like a champ. Yeah. So there you go. Now for the final part, you need to make this your own. So if I finish this puzzle, I've done everything they originally had, and now you've got to add your own spin to it. You've just walked through someone else's plan for creating a game, so now it's time to make it your own. What additional features or challenges do you want to create? So some of the things that you could do are change the visuals so that your player, enemies, and cake look different. You can end the game when enemies get to the cake and print a score. For an extra challenge, end the game after only 3 enemies get through. Randomize the speed of the enemies. I mentioned this earlier. You can make it so that once you get like 10 points, the enemies run faster. You can create a new background that shows up when players reach a higher score. So all of these customizations that you've been doing with the flyer game and the coin collector and the bunny, all of those things that you've been doing before, you can do to this game. So you figure out something to make it unique to you for this last puzzle, and then apply it. And that's what's going to be the difference between a 3 and a 4 on this particular lesson. Are you able to make this your own, or are you going to just stick with the boring one that they've provided for you? So good luck. Hopefully you come up with some cool stuff. Congratulations on making it to this point. Hopefully you've understood everything that we've gone through. If you have additional questions, message me, and I will do my best to be able to answer those and make sure that you feel confident with the code that you're learning and going through for this